today we're going to take a look at the Cold Steel 4 Max. This is the US version. For those of you that are not familiar with this knife, there's a US version and there's an Italian version. And this is the US version, which has been discontinued. So if you can find one, definitely recommend getting one. And this thing is unbelievably stout. Like, just mind-boggling. I mean, some people talk about, you know, a folder never being able to approach the strength of a fixed blade, but there is a lot of fixed blades that wouldn't even approach the strength that this thing has. There's just, it's absolutely incredible. I've taken a look at it before. I haven't used it as I just got it. This knife, I think, was a display model. You can see that there's some, looks like some UV damage to the foam here from being in a display case, and it's also, I mean, it's sharp, like probably hair whittling sharp, but I think it probably would have been a bit sharper when they first got it. So it definitely looks like it's been fondled a bit. It's not been used, but there was some issues with quality control on the US made one, with the lock bar sitting proud, and just some little fit and finish quirks and stuff that people weren't too happy about. But I can tell you that this one is perfect. The one thing about these triad locks, some people complain about, is the stiffness of the lock bar. And it is stiff, but I mean, everything's tight. And the reason why it's so stiff and has that sort of locking, catchy feel, and I think it'll go away with time, but the reason why is the pivot area where that lock bar is actually not perfectly round. It's oblong, so, or oval or whatever. So I think the whole idea behind that is so that when you press the lock bar to disengage the lock, this is actually free to move forward just a little bit, so everything sort of locks into place. This is cut at an angle, so it sort of engages and hooks into it. But it's unbelievable how stout this knife is. The specs say that it's 9.2 ounces, and it's every bit of that. It's 4 inches long, the blade, and it's CPM 20 CV, which is probably one of the better, well, the best powder stainless steel available right now. It's the counterpart of M390, which is made by Bowler in Sweden, I believe, and this one's made by Crucible. There's some slight differences in the process that they use. This is a Gen 1 powdered steel, whereas M390 is considered a Gen 3. I don't know exactly what makes it a Gen 1 versus a Gen 3. I do know that Gen 3 powdered steels tend to be a little more finer grained, but that's definitely nothing that, you know, we would be able to notice as a knife user. So I definitely look forward to putting this knife through its paces and carrying it and using it every day. I'm going to do some slicing tests here, which I'll add to the video. But just for comparison's sake, this is another cold steel knife. This is the Ultimate Hunter, and this is definitely a favorite of mine. And it's a large knife in itself. It's light, it has no liners, but I mean, compared to the 4 Max, it's tiny. It's quite laughable, actually. I should put it inside the case here to give you an idea. This might give you a better visualization on the size difference. It's just, this thing is just massive. I mean, the stop pins on it are huge. Even the pivot pins are huge. Like, just wow. I'm gonna end up putting a little bit of oil on here. I mean, it is stiff, and it is a little bit difficult on the thumb. I can see how Some people might find that problematic, but put a little bit of oil there and let that work in. And then the other thing I'll do is try and get a little bit of oil down in here. It'll work its way through and probably get a little bit gunky, but that's okay. We'll clean it up after. Some paper towel and clean that. So I'm going to pull out my Bark River Bravo 1. This is a field model. Now look at the size difference. I mean, this is not a small knife. It's also an incredibly stout knife. I mean, that 4-max is just huge. I'm still jaw dropped. Yeah, I don't know what else to say other than wow. I mean, this knife, if you're not familiar with Andrew Demko, it's one of his designs, and he works for Cold Steel, so it's basically a semi-custom, or not a semi-custom, but they call maybe a mid-tech version of his full-on custom. So I mean, the full-on customs are, you know, easily $1,000 to $1,500, so that's out of reach for me and most people, I'm sure, whereas these ones are not too bad. I have to put these on the scale, but I mean, it's considerably heavier than my Bravo 1. It's probably heavier than my Bravo 1.5. I mean, I don't know what the specs are on this off the top of my head. I would guess that's probably 6 ounces, 6.5 ounces. But this thing's gonna be fun. There's no question about it. Definitely cut some cheesecake with it. So I have not cut anything with this. This will be the first test cut period with it. So I might put that there, and I'll just see if it slices. This is phone book paper. Oh yeah. I mean, it's sharp. I didn't think it felt that sharp, but that clearly says otherwise. I'm a bit of a snob when it comes to sharpness. It's got to be sharp. This is the Ultimate Hunter, and it's in CTS XHP. Now, I've used this quite a bit. I actually was hacking down limbs of a holly tree with it yesterday, so it shouldn't be dull, but it's not as sharp as that 4-max. A few little soft spots, or maybe little issues with the edge right about there. Oh yeah, that's no issues with that. Ay. I mean, here's my Bravo EDC. I just did a sharpening video on that. That gives you an idea. I mean, that's maybe a bit sharper, but it's toothy. Oh wait, there's a spot there. I have been using this a fair bit, so I'll have to double check it. So I will do more extensive testing with this. This is just a piece of spruce, I believe. It's quite an aggressive cutter. It's got good edge geometry, good control. No difficulties finding the edge. That's pretty good actually. And this one should be pretty sharp. But not bad. I'll do some cutting tests and post those and try and do a more complete video, but this is just a quick and dirty first impression. So far I really like it. Here's some paracord, 550, 7 strand, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 5. God, I can't count today. So 5, so there should be 10, and I'll just do a quick little cut there. No problems. So yeah, if you have any suggestions as far as what you'd like to see me do with this knife, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll definitely try and, you know, fulfill those requests, provided it doesn't wreck my knife. I'm not one of those guys that likes to beat on them until they're destroyed. I can't afford to do that. But yeah, anyways, let me know what you think, and as always, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.